was that he was still in good with Hollywood, and his dream project that he had been spending his whole career deciding, like, I've got to make this movie, my favorite book of all time, The Island of Dr. Moreau. And he
said, we're going to go there before Red Letter Media does.
Yeah. So he decided, like,
we would reverse though.
So he worked on the script for a long time, and apparently it was very ambitious. And
the 1990s remake.
Yeah, this is the 1990s version, and the studio was on board. They gave him, like, for the time, a pretty lavish budget, and they built these really elaborate sets out in the jungle on some island, and they were like, all right, you go make your movie. And he cast Marlon Brando to be in this movie. Val Kilmer came on board.
Yeah, Val Kilmer, before he was
yeah, this was Val Kilmer back in, like, the Top Gun sort of era of his career.
Maybe a little bit after he played Batman, yeah.
Actually, this was around about the same time. He was going through a lot of personal problems. More on that in a second. David Thewlis is in this movie. To this day, he refuses to talk about it.
But we weren't in it, so we're going to talk about it.
But yeah, so what ended up happening was, because of the just disastrous pre-production process and stuff just going wrong, like the storms came in and, like, flooded the sets. On top of that, Val Kilmer was having, like, the most profound meltdown of his life. He was getting divorced, and I guess he was super bitter and frustrated, and he just kind of went nuts. And he basically destroyed the production, to hear other people who were there say it. And basically got the director fired. So Richard Stanley was out after just like 3 days of filming. The studio had no confidence anymore. They were like, okay, something's going wrong. We're going to lose our $20 million. You're fired. This is his script, by the way, and his dream project, and he was off of it. And they brought in John Frankenheimer, who is a perfectly good director in his own right. But, I mean, you're thrown into this, like, okay, here's this disaster movie. Save it. Go. You have a day to prep. And so he was like, why don't we make it a comedy or something? I don't know. I don't understand the script, so I'll just film whatever BS I feel like. And the actors were, like, bitter and drunk and didn't want to be there. And
no,
so
they should have filmed them bitter and drunk.
They did. That's the beauty of it. When you see that movie and you see Val Kilmer put on pasty makeup and do this really bad Marlon Brando impression with pillows under his shirt going, I want to go to doggy heaven. Doggy heaven. That's him being drunk and hungover and pissed off and having a breakdown at the same time in the movie.
And he wasn't in All Dogs Go to Heaven, was he?
No, but wouldn't that have been awesome if that version of Val Kilmer had been?
That would have been
a much more interesting movie, I think.
All dogs go to hell.
All dogs go to hell now.
Screw you
just
all.
like my ex-wife.
No.
Oh, and Marlon Brando is in... At this point in his career, I think he was just sort of
on his last
his
legs.
Own planet at this point. He was just sort of like...
out there.
I don't know, it's ham.
My God, he used to be in The Godfather. What the hell? I was in Street Called Him Desire.
Yeah, and there was a point where he was one of the greatest actors of his generation. In this movie, he's basically... There's a scene where he puts an ice bucket on his head, and they dump ice on his cranium because his brain is so genius that it's overheating like a car battery. And he's like, put the ice on my head, my dear.
See, the first ice bucket challenge ever?
Marlon Brando invented it.
No.
And
that.
No, nothing's ever going to top that.
Marlon Brando invented that.
And people, I think, if they remember this movie at all, they kind of remember the way South Park made fun of it. They had, like, a lot of Marlon Brando gags in the early seasons of South Park, and Brando's always wearing a Hawaiian shirt. That's why they're referencing this movie. And then he's got this little tiny
including
person
that Cartman joins in
following him around. That's out of the movie. Yeah, and Cartman's a Marlon Brando.
He thought he was joining the Marlon Brando group, but he ended up joining the Man Boy Love Association. Yeah, wrong place. And that was a joke in the South Park episode.
Yeah, but that at least is not in Island of Dr. Moreau.
No,
all the other weirdness is, and it's a really fascinating debacle that when it first came out,
it's sort of a horror movie.
The studio was it's horrifying in its own way. when it was coming out, they were still trying to bill it like it was a prestige picture. So the ads were like, Universal or whatever studio it was proudly presents a new vision of terror from John Frankenheimer, who it really wasn't his vision. It was Richard Stanley's, and he messed it up. Or Stanley didn't. Frankenheimer messed up Stanley's vision.
Well, because he didn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. But after it came out and the reviews were like, oh my god, this is like the campiest, most unintentionally funny thing ever, the ads really quickly switched to say, you know, the funniest movie of the season, you should come see this. But one final ironic aside, urban legend has it, and I'm led to believe this is true, that Stanley hung around the set for a while after he was fired to, you know, maybe just morbidly watch the sinking ship of his dream project. But he convinced the makeup guys, who I guess he was still in good with, to disguise him as one of the animal people in the movie. So he's not only got like some cameo appearances as one of the rubber-looking dog people in the background, but at the end of the movie, after all was said and done, and it was this disastrous production, apparently Val Kilmer actually approached Stanley and apologized to him and said, "I'm so sorry I messed this up for you. I don't know what I was thinking." I don't know how Stanley felt about that, if this story is true, but yeah, it's a fascinating debacle. If you're in the mood for something that you not only should have some beers, it's required. You have to have some beers if you're going to watch this movie.
Yeah. They had Nostalgia Critic and also Stone Gremlin Productions. The guys go in the truck after the midnight screenings and they do the thing like we do, but we have lots of lights.
But they're actually out on the road, apparently.
Yeah, they're on the road. Yeah.
But so
they did that. But ours is of course our own version of surreal.
Right.
Yeah.